Hey guys, I wanted to take a few minutes today to record a short training video to help kind of polish our skills for the Sunday morning services and show you a few things that may be new tips for you or new tricks for you, and just kind of talk about some basics that will help us flow a little more smoothly through the Sunday morning rehearsals. So I've got 6 things here that I want to go through, and if you guys have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me afterwards. Okay, number 1, let's talk about the routing of the projection system through the camera system into the house, all of that good stuff. So let's take a look at the touch panel. To check the routing for a Sunday morning service, the first thing that you're going to want to do is ensure that the projection system, is powered on. And of course, you can do this just by touching in the middle of the touch screen, and the whole system will come on. Additionally, you will need to check the rack to your left that's sitting on the projection table and ensure that the switch on the top right-hand corner is switched on. After you've done that, this first screen will appear that you can see on your screen right now. And you've got a number of different sources, inputs, that you can route to a number of different outputs. And it's important that you check this each time you come in. Typically, this will all be set up for you whenever you come in. However, there are weeks whenever I'm absent. There are weeks whenever other things have taken priority as far as setup is concerned, and it's always a good practice to check these things before you start rehearsal on a Sunday morning. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to go through the first 4 inputs and make sure that they are routed correctly. The FOH input and the stage input are not a typical input that we use for Sunday morning. So to start with the first input, ProPresenter 1. ProPresenter 1 will need to be routed to the program send, which is the first output on your right. This sends everything from the lower thirds to full screen graphics over to the camera switcher. Once ProPresenter 1 is routed, you then need to go under the button underneath to Program Return, and Program Return needs to go to front projection. This takes the camera feed that is mixed with the tech feed and everything that is finalized that's going out online. This sends that feed into the house and out through the projectors. Now, if you don't do this, ProPresenter 1 could be routed to the front projectors. It could be bypassing the camera feed. That is an issue whenever it comes time to go in live on Sunday morning. So it's important that you check that. The third thing to check is ProPresenter 2, the rear projector, and that needs to go to rear projection, third button down on your right. From time to time, there are events in that space that will want to imitate what's happening on the front screen and the rear screen, so it's important that that gets rerouted for a Sunday morning service. And then finally, ProPresenter 3, which is Tom's stage display, does need to be routed to stage display. Okay, just to recap, ProPresenter 1 needs to go to Program Send, Program Return needs to go to the front projector, ProPresenter 2 needs to go to the rear projector, and ProPresenter 3 needs to go to the stage display. Number 2, let's talk about how to add and edit slides. So we'll go down first here into an actual song. So we'll go to Speak to the Mountain. One of the best way to add and edit slides, I know we probably all have a number of different methods that we've picked up over the years, and they all work. There's many different ways that you can do this. I've found the most efficient way to do this is to use the reflow editor. So let's say that we want to edit in the chorus, every single chorus, we're going to edit a slide here, I won't be shaken, I won't be moved. Let's say we want to change that to I won't be shaken, I won't be moving. Okay? Not that we necessarily would, but we'll use this as an example here. So select anywhere in the song, but you do need to select a slide within the song. Select that, go over to Reflow here. And within Reflow, you can then change to I won't be shaken, I won't be moving. And here's the thing. whenever you change it on one slide, as long as the arrangement is set up correctly, when you change it on one slide, it's going to change it on all of the slides. So you see I've changed it down here. Well, if you go up to I won't be moved, up here it says now I won't be moving, and vice versa if I changed it back to moved, because we really don't want that. Then that's going to, that's going to show up on the other slides. So I think that should make sense, but that's one of the best ways to, make a change there. Another trick with reflow to be aware of is the ability to create slides or to condense slides using Option Enter and Option Delete or Option Backspace. So let's say that right here at the end of the bridge, we've got this slide here that says, "There's nothing for God that's impossible." Let's say not that we would necessarily want to, but let's say we wanted to create a new slide out of this. After "that's impossible," well, we go here to click right before the word "that's," hold Option and hit Return, and now we have "There's nothing for God that's impossible." So it's a brand new slide here. And if we wanted to reverse that, we can just hold Option, Delete, and now we're back to the to just the regular one slide. There's nothing for God that's impossible. Now let's say you need to create a new slide that just doesn't exist. Maybe there's a tag, like this tag right here: bigger, better, stronger, greater, bigger, better, stronger, greater. Let's say you need to create a new tag. Well, the best way that I've found to do that, let's go back to Show, creating brand new slides. It's easiest if you click here into the arrangement view, go back to the master, and let's say within this song right here, we want to create, okay, so we have this last tag: bigger, better, stronger, greater than you, and it comes at the end of this tag: bigger, better, stronger, greater. Well, here's how to create that. And first of all, it looks like these were created. Make sure that whenever you start a new line, that every new line starts with a capital letter. Just FYI, that's there's no rule about that, but that's just a standard. That's something we do for every single song. Okay, so we're going to create this new slide here. Let's highlight and let's go into reflow. And bigger, better, stronger, greater than you. Okay, so we want to create this here. So what we're going to do is we're going to come to the end of this slide right here. We'll hold Option, and actually to make this I guess more real world, let's do this because it's a little conceptual right now. So let's do this. Let's just delete this one that says tag 1. We're gonna create it now. All right. So highlight this, go over to reflow, click reflow, and whenever you're in reflow, we want to make a new slide that says bigger, better, stronger, greater than you. Okay. So I'm going to highlight these words and hit copy. And then down here on the tag, I'm going to hold down Option, hit Return, and I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to add the words "than you." Bigger, better, stronger, greater than you. Okay? Now we see all we've done is just add a second slide here to the tag, and that's not what we want necessarily. So what I'm going to do is, you don't have to get out of reflow to do this. You can just hit copy. I'm sorry. You can just right click, go over to group, and within group, you can select tag. Of course, tag's already selected. But now on the second slide here, what you need to do is right click, go down to group, and hit tag 2. Tag 2. And so now you've got basically two different groups to work with here. So now whenever you go back into Show, you can go to the correct arrangement here, and what you'll want to do is, you'll see here at the end we've got bigger, better, stronger. I'm sorry, bigger, better, stronger, greater. Bigger, better, stronger, greater. Bigger, better, stronger, greater. Yeah. And at the very end, we want to grab tag 2 and we want to add that in. So I hope that makes sense. That's just an easy way to add and edit slides as you need to for Sunday morning. Use Reflow. It's a really powerful tool. And work backwards. You know, if you've got an issue with the arrangement here, work backwards to the master. That makes it a little easier. And the reason I say that is if you make a big change to a group like the chorus, that's going to make a big change to the whole document. It's easy to get lost in that. So go back to the master, make the change, come back to the arrangement view, and then update it there. The third thing today, I want to talk about the presentation output versus the announcement output. Now, I'm not going to dig deep into this. All I want to say on this matter is that ProPresenter 7 has this really powerful tool where you can send basically two different feeds out through your different outputs. And they've set it up this way because say you've got more of a simple setup in which their primary clientele are going to have a much more simple setup than what we have. But let's say you're running slides in the house, and then you've got TVs in your lobby that you want to run a second set of announcement slides on. Well, ProPresenter has set it up in such a way that you can run both of those from one screen, from one instance of ProPresenter within ProPresenter 7. And the way that they do this is you can give each section of your playlist, you can give each element of your playlist an assignment as far as whether it goes out of the presentation output or whether it goes out the announcement output. And now it gets complex from there because there's a number of different things that you can do with routing under the hood. And the different scenes, that's what's happening. That's why whenever I tell you to click the first slide in a particular group, that's why, because it's changing all of the things under the hood that you don't have to worry about. But what's important as far as announcement versus presentation is making sure that these are appropriately assigned. Typically, again, these are things that I do during the week and make sure that they're set up. But I'm human. I can always overlook some things. And so here's what you need to ensure is set up appropriately on Sunday morning. Now, everything defaults to the presentation output. Let me show you where this happens. If you go to any element within the playlist, you'll see a little target right here on the far right side. In fact, it says presentation destination target. If you click that, you'll see you've got two different options here. You've got presentation and you've got announcements. Now, you want everything to say presentation except these two elements. The first one is the 10-minute countdown timer. You want to make sure that that says announcements. That is set up in such a way so that we can continue to run the countdown timer over the slides and not have any issues as far as one item canceling out another item. Okay. It also allows us to run lower thirds for pre-service music. All right, so that's the first element. The second element is down in the message placeholder. You need to make sure that that says announcements versus presentation. This allows us to run a lower third on the main screen while setting up the slides or having the slides show up on Tom's display for the message. I don't want to dig in the weeds on all of that. I just want to make sure that you understand that countdown timer needs to be set to announcements, again, by clicking this target, and message needs to be set to announcements. The fourth thing today, I want to talk to you, give you kind of a basic overview of macros and how they work. Again, these are things that we typically set up, but it's important for you to know them. So if it gets missed, you can make sure that this is set up. So first of all, we're just going to focus on these blue macros here. These are for the music set. For any song that runs pre-service, you want to make sure that it starts with the pre-service macro. And that can be set by just clicking over here in the macro sections on the right panel, clicking and dragging music set plus pre-service and dropping it onto the first slide in the presentation. This can also be edited if you go over to the song within the presentation, right click that. You can add an action here and add a macro, and you can go through and choose all of these. But you can also edit that by right clicking, going down to edit, and then you'll have your whole selection of macros here. So the very first song, if it truly is a pre-service song and we're going to want the countdown timer to run with the lower thirds, you need to make sure it says music set plus pre-service. All right, for the first song after any other element that's not a song in the service, you need to select music set plus clear all. Okay, again, that's any song that comes after any element in the service that's not a song. Music set plus clear all. That just ensures that clear all is a safety to make sure whatever's happened as far as media before that in the service, all of that gets cleared and we're ready to go for our lower thirds. For any song that comes after another song, like in this set, promises follows God is for us, and it as well follows promises, you can just choose the macro that is music set. That's all it is. And the reason why I do that, it's more for rehearsal, so that I can ensure that every time we start a song, that the front screen look is going to be the same and the rear screen look is going to be the same. Let's say you've been editing some sermon slides or you've run a bumper or whatever, that all of that changes the back screen. Well, clicking on the first slide and every time you start a song, that ensures that all of that gets reset. Number 5 today, I want to show you how to schedule the countdown timer should I neglect to schedule it at some point. This is something we've been doing for a while, just setting up the schedule of the countdown timer. Of course, we've switched over to just doing a 10-minute countdown timer. And again, this is something I aim to do every week. However, if I forget to do it, here's how you can set it up yourself. First of all, you're going to want to go up to View and click down where it says Calendar. Whenever this comes up, you'll see that every single week from now until eternity, I guess, every single week there is a placeholder for the countdown timer. So you'll see past services in here. Scroll down to the upcoming services. And for this coming weekend, we will want to set up the countdown timer. Now, this is the set that's in there now is last weekend's set, so I'll have to go back in and do this again. But what you'll want to do is you'll see a spot for the 9 a.m. service and a spot for the 10:30 a.m. service. And these are already automatically set up with the correct time when this needs to fire and the correct date. So what you'll do is select for the 9 a.m. service, come down here to where it says Action, go to Playlist, Services, and this service that's set up here, you'll want to select countdown timer. Now again, I'm not going to select this because actually, let me go ahead and select it and then I'll revert it. Whenever this happens, just click only this event, and then from here you've got your countdown timer, and you can click Test. And yes, as you can see up here in the top corner, it does for sure run the countdown timer. And then you would just come through and you would do that again here for the 10:30 service. Go to Services, come down, click Countdown Timer, only this event, and you can run the test again. And you'll see that it starts over. So that's the way you set up the automation on the countdown timer. Finally today, I want to show you something that you can check under the hood if the Tom stage display ever goes out on a Sunday morning. We had this issue this last weekend. It's still a mystery to me what has happened here, but if this happens again, here's the first thing that you can try. What you'll want to do is go up to Screens, click Screens, go to Configure Screens, and whenever Configure Screens comes up, make sure that this selection here that says Audience, make sure that this is selected, that this is on. This was off this last Sunday morning, which would have killed the signal for the front screens and Tom's display. So you'll always want to make sure that this is selected and turned on. Well, I hope that's helpful information for you all. If you have any questions, do feel free to reach out to me. But I hope that this is a way that you can feel more confident on Sunday mornings and give you some more tools to be able to help out as we lead our people in worship.